Hello, my name is Eric Tomlin, and I'm with Flight Level Simulations. Um, Also a member of LJ45 and a technical consultant for Flight Deck Soft, the maker of Jet45 Advanced Avionics Suite. If you've been around the Learjet 45 as a simulator build for very long, you realize that only recently has the aircraft started to garner much support. Over the holidays, I had some time off from work, and I wanted to see what could be done with systems side of simulation on the Lear 45 without any kind of system software in place, using only the InterfaceIT software that accompanies the FDS system cards. I was actually pretty happy with what I was able to do. Shown here is the Flight Level Simulations electrical panel and the landing gear hydraulic panel. And down here, it's hard to see, but there's also an engine start panel. And these three guys have been wired in recently. The MIP is actually out on a table, as you can tell. The wiring for this kind of project, when you do it to the level that I'm doing, is pretty extensive. You can see all of the interface cards there, and they're getting ready to have their permanent tags put onto the wire harnesses. But anyhow, the MIP is out on the table for all this wiring, and while it was out, I wanted to go ahead and get some of the system logic created. So we'll go ahead and do go from cold and dark and do a startup here. So we'll notice that every switch is actually turned off. This is done because of a relay card that's offered by Flight Deck Solutions. The power is physically cut off from the LEDs until I turn the battery switches on. Okay, so you can see the airplane comes alive. Now we have the gears, the gear indicator showing, and I'll just turn that on and off a couple times so you can see. You can see all of the lights actually go on and off, and you may be able to hear the relay clicking. So now it's showing what we have here is all of the off states are showing, and so we notice that the generators are offline, the non-essential buses are offline, the avionics are offline, the emergency battery is off, but obviously the left and right battery are on because we turn them on, and when those come on, also you turn on the left and the right main, because that's where they get their power from, is from the left and right battery. So we'll go ahead and we'll turn on the emergency battery, and it shows that it switched from off to emergency. And then also up here on the crew warning panel that Flight Level Simulations offers, you'll notice that the emergency battery comes on and off according with the switch position that I have here. And the reason why that's showing up on the crew warning panel is because the emergency battery is being depleted right now because there's no generator or APU or GPU online. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to press the right engine start switch down here on the start panel, and you'll see some things start to change state. There you notice the right generator switch. The indication shows that it's on now, and you saw the emergency battery switch go from the EMER status to dark, which meant that now there's a generator coming online. And then last but not least, the bus tie connected, it closed, and showed that power is being given from the right hand side of the airplane to the left hand side. Now of course this is simulated, but this is all set up through internal variable logic of InterfaceIT. Now I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to turn on the avionics masters. Of course those extinguish, and we're going to start the left engine. So the left generator and the left non-essential come online. The bus tie is closed, and if it works the way it's supposed to, sometimes it doesn't work 100%. The bus tie should open after the left engine actually gets started good. Okay, and it behaved. It did what it was supposed to do. Moving over to the landing gear panel, we've got the left and right probe heat modeled. Of course, in Flight Simulator, only the left is actually working for the whole airplane. You could assign it to the right switch if you wanted to. I just kind of tend to assign the actual offset to the left-hand side of everything, and then If there's no real thing, I'd create the dummy or the internal variable for the right hand side. So we can turn the right and left windshield heat on, the probe heat on. And then also we show here the wing stab heat we can turn on, because it's not intended to be on the entire time. And then the left and right nacelle heat as well. Over here we see the landing gear indicators. And we also see the nose steer, anti-skid, auxiliary hydraulics, and the hydraulic cross flow. Of course, we just turn it on, off, and if we turn the anti-skid on like it's supposed to be, then of course it extinguishes. And we do want the nose steer on. One of the things that's really neat also with the logic that I've been able to create here is we can simulate how the nose steer and the aux hydraulics work in the real airplane. When the gear handle comes up, of course the gear are still down, so they're showing the position, but you notice those systems turn off, and then when you bring the gear handle back down, it turns those systems on again. We could actually have the handle in the up position but still turn the system on and off, but then it's going to automatically come on when you put the gear down. That's about it for now. There's a lot going on with just these few things here. We also have the ignition switches interfaced, as well as the APR arm, the Advanced Power Reserve arm. That's a checklist item that you have it turned on before you start your takeoff roll. We have the left and the right standby switches. They haven't actually been interfaced in yet, but they do indicate on whenever an engine start is happening. If I press this right engine start, you'll see that the left and the right, the right start switch and the right standby switch illuminate at the same time, and just so you can see it happen simultaneously here. This actually won't light up until the start sequence is finished over here. There it goes. Okay. So, and then after that start sequence finishes, then they'll both extinguish at the same time. And that's prototypical to the real airplane as well. And also we see that the bus tie closed. Now that really wasn't supposed to happen because the generators were still online. And that's a perfectly good reason why we want to have a system software, because you can create a lot of this logic, but sometimes it's in certain situations it just doesn't work the way it's supposed to. And of course, I think everybody would really like to have the CAS messages on their ICAS for Jet 45 too. So anyhow, I hope you've enjoyed seeing what little bit can be done. It actually is quite a bit with the InterfaceIT software for the systems card from Flight Deck Solutions. And have a good day. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email.